My great-grandfather, Feek, Tooke, pretty much created the modern-day bucking horse in the 1930s. And through DNA, which I'm part of the Bucking Horse Breeders Association, through the DNA, about 93% of all bucking horses go back to what Grandpa started about 100 years ago.
The following is a Big Sky Economic Development production.
Welcome to The Vault, a Montana-based business podcast where we highlight the people and ideas driving our region forward. I'm your host, Marcel Bruschi.
You're listening to The Vault.
So for the first time in the history of our podcast, The Vault, we are joined by a guest who also grew up in my hometown of Ekalaka, Montana. Toby Tooke, welcome to The Vault.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're the first Ekalaka guest I have had.
I know when you asked me to do this, I was like, what are we talking about? Your dad and brother?
Yeah, no, we're not talking about them at all. They're boring. No, I'm kidding. I actually thought about it. I was like, I could have Ben on, but then I'm like, ooh, no. Like, what comes out of his mouth? I was like, probably not for the podcast at Big Sky Economic Development.
Well, they've treated my folks well down there.
Good.
I was telling you, your dad and brother are building the fence and all sorts of stuff out at our place, and then he bought the place behind my parents' house down there.
Oh, yeah, good. Yeah. See, so he'll probably put a new fence up too that will benefit all over there.
So, yep, Ben is dealing with my folks.
Good. Yeah, he likes it. He loves all the local people that he sees all the time. So something that it's funny because when you messaged me, what you messaged, which I'll share in a second, my boss and I have been talking a lot about Eastern Montana and the people from Eastern Montana just being very humble people. So when you did message, you're like, what are we going to talk about? I'm like, is this not what we've just literally been talking about for the past few weeks of like Eastern Montana, like they're doing cool shit, but they're super humble. So, Toby, I know you a little, but maybe our listeners don't know you. So let's talk about what was your experience like growing up in Ekalaka?
I grew up on a ranch 22 miles out of Ekalaka. The bus didn't go there.
They didn't at the time? Do they?
Nope. It went Beaver Flats up there to the T, and we're south of that about 6 miles. So my grandpa flew me to school in a Piper Cub.
Okay.
And my great-grandma picked me up, would take me to school, pick me up after school, take me back out. So, yeah, private flights to school.
That's kind of bougie. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. And then we moved to town when got into sports and stuff. So
like a townhouse, or like you still had the ranch house and townhouse?
Two houses.
Two houses,
extra bougie, yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. I feel like townhouses in Ekalaka, because like the Hanson side, right? Like the other cousins had a townhouse, but it was like a house in town, not like a townhouse that you would think of living here in Billings.
When you have the townhouse, it's more or less just somewhere to sleep, because when you're in town, you're up to school, and then it's usually sports, FFA, whatever you're doing, and you get home at 7 or 8, you do your homework and to bed and repeat. Yeah. And then you go do chores on the weekend.
Yeah. So tell us more about that for people that are like, what's Ekalaka? What does he mean? There wasn't, a bus couldn't come get you. What do you mean?
I love to play with it. I'm like, yeah, only the rich people had running water and people rode their horses to the bar, right? That kind of thing.
How fun would that have been? The horses to the bar? Yeah.
Well, I think everybody down there went branding and rode their horse to the bar.
Yeah, I think so. After too many drinks are had.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, I grew up on the ranch. We had cattle. We raised bucking horses. People might have heard of that, the Tooke bucking horses. So I dealt with that a lot growing up, haying, fencing, what ranch kids do, and then would play sports through high school, and that was my upbringing. And Ekalaka, I guess, growing up, it was weird because Gabe grew up across the street, and he's an Ekalaka. His great-great-great-grandma was Ekalaka, so everybody always asked, what is that? And I said, it's a lady's name.
Yeah, spelled a little different, but named after a woman.
Mm-hmm. And so I love to have beers with Tom Carroll and get the history of it. And, he's taking us out to the cemetery outside of town and that stuff, so...
I haven't gotten that from Tom, but we were like on a fire thing together, and he was so great.
Yeah, Tom's awesome.
He's amazing. Yeah, and they're still there. Like I think
still
there's
across
a lot
from
of
my parents, and then you've got if you deal with Tom, you probably got to deal with Les Kreidel, who is a descendant, and just two interesting people. that know a lot of the history of the town, and I just absorb history. I have a little earnest in me as far as loving history and just sitting and listening.
Did you always like growing up and like being in high school, because you're involved in everything, which I think is a normal thing if you grow up in like a small rural class seat, right? Like you did sports, you did the academics. Did you like, were history classes something you liked?
Yeah. I mean, Mr. Ryan was my basketball coach, and he's now the AD here in town at Central.
Yeah, because when I was there, like he was in Miles City at the time.
Yep.
Yeah, as the AD there. Mm-hmm.
So no, I loved history, and then it started early, like branding, sitting around listening to Milton Markison and Fulton Castleberry.
Okay.
They were the nut cutters, and I was that kid. So hearing those stories, so yeah, I've always loved history.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean by that? If someone's like, what does he mean by the spray?
Oh,
the spray. No one can see it.
No one can see it?
No.
If nobody's ever been to a branding, Rocky Mountain oysters.
Yeah.
When you snip, you got to put it on there so it doesn't get infected, because that...
keep them safe.
Yep.
Yeah. So you grew up doing that. You grew up doing all the sports. Did you do like basketball, but football?
Basketball, football, track, baseball.
So you did all 4. They had baseball? You guys had baseball?
Yeah. I'm old. Yeah.
We didn't have that. We had T-ball, I think.
We were in the Glendive League, and we would drive.
Oh, wow.
We had like 12 kids, but considering chores and summer stuff, we would just drive around, and who wants to get on the bus and go to Glendive and play? So it wasn't, we were the Bad News Bears, really.
I love that. You guys were the fun crew. Tenador would take us sometimes for basketball, like open gym kind of like stuff during the week of the summers. Even though I'm like, I don't know if your coach was technically supposed to do that, but he did do that. But he would just drive. And he would only take six of us.
And I'd get calls because our house I could see the high school from our house. Mm-hmm. So I would always get the open gym calls from the older guys, like when I was 6th, 7th, 8th grade playing with seniors. And I'm like, I'm going to get beat up.
But you go anyways, and you do. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you went, you go, you have your summers doing like ranch kid things. Were there any like stories that really stick out to you?
I mean, summers was haying and working cows and praying for rain and hating grasshoppers and that stuff. You know, it was me, my dad, and my grandpa out there. So a lot of almost fist fights. You know, you run a tractor into a washout, dad's ripping on me, grandpa's giggling, that kind of stuff. So, yeah. So no, I wouldn't change it having that. And then Peg was usually in the house cooking, and can't beat that. Yeah.
What did she make? Something you really liked?
Swiss steak was amazing.
Okay.
That was always a request when I would go home, all the way up until she died, was, hey, I'm coming home. She's like, I'll make some Swiss steak. I'm like, hell yeah.
Hey, thank you. You will. Thank you so much.
and then of course the baking. So top it off with cookies and bars and pies.
Yeah. I get that. So what'd you do after you graduated? What during high school for you, what did you want to do? Like, or did you think about it? Because I did. I was like, I need to go to school, but I don't know what I'm doing after that.
I was okay in basketball until I shredded a knee.
Playing basketball?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. When I was a junior. And then I knew I was too short and too slow to do that. So I went to Spearfish to do math because Mr. Mock kind of pushed me that way. And then I realized I hate kids and don't want to deal with them because I was that kid. And you
didn't want to deal with like many of you running around?
I deal with that one all the time, the daughter. But no, I got there and I changed into history, and my teacher actually knew the Tooke family, so that helped. And then a weekend I fell into radio. The kid goes, hey, do you want to come to the studio and hang out? Sure. So that was 26 years ago.
Wow. In Spearfish.
In Spearfish. In a little closet in the basement of the library, cinder block. It was like a prison cell.
So what do you mean, like, you've just, like, he's like, come hang out?
Yeah.
Like, what'd you do? Did you play some music?
Yeah, played music, talked, ended up starting a specialty show with a kid named Andy, who was from eastern South Dakota, and it just kind of blossomed from there. And
what was your show about?
We did a specialty show with comics.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of cool.
So 2 hours on a Friday night.
So you guys weren't out partying, you were hosting the show.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So yeah, usually comics that were in on a Saturday night would stop by us on a Friday. So no, it was fun.
Yeah. And then how did it grow from there? Because you've been in radio for a really long time, which I didn't tell anyone that. So I'll let you tell them that. We'll get to that.
Yeah, I was on that. And speaking of that, it was must have been October. I got a message. I'm actually was one of the first in the Black Hills State University Broadcasting Hall of Fame, which was really odd to me.
Congratulations. That's a big thing.
And of course, I pipe up to my boss here in Billings. I go, hey, I'm a Hall of Famer. I should be paid as such. He goes, the only thing that means is you're getting old and you should schedule your colonoscopy. So, no pay raise.
Dang it. That Black Hills State didn't carry enough weight.
No, but it was fun getting to see a bunch of the crew that came before me down there, as well as some of the ones that I had been on air with.
Yeah. What'd you like about it? Like, if you've made a career, like, what were some of those early days that you're like, oh, I actually kind of like this?
It's easy-ish. I mean, going from fencing and stuff like that to just sitting here like this talking. Mm-hmm. And I hear people bitch complain about their work. I was like, you guys don't know work, man.
Yeah.
So, no, it was getting onto the rock station and getting to meet bands that you listen to.
Because they come on, right? Like they...
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have been able to meet... I remember listening to Rob Zombie in our weight room growing up, and then getting to hang out with him and his wife, talk movies. One of the most brilliant men I've met, or Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue, working with him because he had a syndicated show. Just things like that, where the pay isn't great, but the perks are definitely there.
Oh, yeah, because you're meeting and doing things that no one else really gets to do.
And it's one of those things we both heard. It's not how much you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
And getting to know them. I mean, it's been great. Hey, do you have this person's number? Sure. Yeah. It all works out.
Whatever you need. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think Montana's that way, a who you know state.
Yeah. And you learn that about a lot of these celebrities. They love Montana. Mm-hmm. Whether it's hiking, whether it's biking, whether it's skiing in Red Lodge, they love coming here because people are friendly.
They're hospitable. They get that Montana hospitality.
Yep.
Yeah, which they really get. Yeah. Yeah. So you're in Spearfish.
Yep.
You're doing a radio show. You're going to school. You're studying you go from math to history.
Yep.
Because you like history, which we're going to get into that too.
And I was going back to Ekalaka on weekends and reffing.
It was 2 hours. Oh, you reffed.
Ref basketball games on weekends, yeah, with Mike Quady. So I'd go back and do that. And make a little extra money that way. Uh-huh. And, of course, help Dad when he needed it. And then after 3 years, I don't know, I just kind of lost interest and moved home for 6 months and moved up here and enrolled at MSUB, went to some summer classes. I never graduated. I always joke that I went for 7 years, so I'm actually a doctor.
Yeah, you basically are a doctor.
Yes.
You could
I don't have the expensive paper, but I'm a doctor.
You're a doctor. Yeah, you have the classes and the coursework.
Yeah.
So when you moved home, did you like it? Like, were you like, okay, this is good? Or you're like, no, this is temporary?
In all honesty, when I was in Spearfish, Gabe was in Rapid, so we wore the interstate out back and forth.
Okay.
He moved home, I moved home, and then we both moved up here at the same time. So, so yeah, that was a thing. The kid
Childhood besties.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
And then, of course, up here, he starts having kids and moves back to Ekalaka to the ranch.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, he's home.
Yeah. Living at the grandparents' house, running that embroidering business that has been booming for him. Cool.
What's it called? We should give him a shout out.
Carol Customs.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And he's busy.
Yeah. He ended up it was a closet, and then he moved it into the garage, and now it's in the shop right next to his bar.
Wow. So it is growing.
Yeah. And there's times I'll get texts. He's like, hey, I haven't been to town in a month and a half. Just that kind of stuff. And I'm like, really?
But it's true. Sometimes like they lose track of time. Like my cousin is like that. I'm like, Michael, like, what do you mean you left the ranch? Like, what do you mean?
Well, I never see Michael unless it's fair, and that's when you see everybody.
That's the only time you see anybody.
Yes.
Is that fair? Because it's the one time. So what drew you to Billings if you've kind of been going back and forth to the Black Hills, which is 2 hours-ish from Ekalaka, so it's close. We all grew up going over there. What drew you to Billings?
Big city. I knew they had a cool radio station, and it's where a lot of, well, we were talking before we cracked the mic, there wasn't many Montana kids in Spearfish, and it seemed like there was a lot of them here or Bozeman. So, yeah, that was part of it. And
so what'd you do when you got here?
Worked at Shipton's, worked at Best Buy, all the retail stuff, realizing I did not want to do that. And, of course, went over to Bozeman and Bobcat football and partied over there. And then was on the station, and I've been in that building, well, on all the old stations, Y93,
Okay.
the old 94.1.
How'd you get, because you had experience, so did you, you just applied and did you start out as like a radio host or doing some?
Did weekends.
Yeah.
And bugged.
Is that typical for those listening that don't know radio as much as like you start out doing weekends and then work your way in?
Overnights or weekends or where you're at. And then you hope somebody quits, dies, something like that. So you can get
dies,
it.
likes you.
However, yeah. And then you have people that are on vacation. So, I mean, you're filling in. But we have 8 stations in our building. So there's plenty of opportunities.
And have you been with the same one?
Same building there. 4 different companies, but same building.
And same station?
Same station. 96.3 The Zone. And everybody jokes that I come with the building. Because I've been there the longest out of everybody.
You're like the OG.
Which I'm not there very much, but when I am there, I do quality work. I research for topics, cut commercials, that kind of thing, because I think, again, going back to where we're from, work ethic of, the cows aren't going to feed themselves. The fence is not going to fix itself.
Damn it, but if it did, you know.
And during the summer, it's like, crap, I don't want to get up at 4 a.m., but I'd rather do it at 4 a.m. than at 1 when it's 105 out. So prioritizing and managing time has really helped coming from that.
Yep. It's been like instilled in you from growing up in, in an agriculture environment.
Yep.
Yeah. So we've talked a little bit about it, and I really can't wait to talk to you about it because I just haven't. You talked a little bit about bucking horses and your family. Let's dive into that, thinking that some of our listeners maybe aren't even plugged into that world at all, because you guys have quite the family legacy, and you've really, I think, brought that to light in a really great way. And I love family stuff, legacy, and it seems like that's something that you're passionate about as well with history.
First off, have you seen it?
I haven't. I know.
Then we can't talk about it. It'll be a spoiler.
No, it's okay. I'll watch it this weekend. I should have beforehand, so I'm so sorry. Yeah. I think everyone should. I watched a little part of what you shared on Facebook from the rodeo.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool too. Like Rodeo Billings paying tribute to.
Yeah, David did a great job with that. I'm going to go straight earnest. Should I start from the beginning?
Start from the beginning. For those that don't know, because you mentioned him, Grandpa, yeah, and the family.
My great-grandfather, Feek Tooke, pretty much created the modern-day bucking horse in the 1930s.
Out of Carter County, right?
Straight out of Ekalaka, the Beaver Flats. And he quit school in 8th grade, tried to do this. People said he couldn't. And
do we know what drew him to it? Like, so if he's, and it's a different, like, what year was that,
I officially say we started in 43, but he had started in the late 20s with all the boys putting on rodeos. He just loved horses, race horses, work horses, bucking horses. He said, any job worth doing is worth doing with a horse, was kind of his motto. And so, yeah, he bought a Shire stud out of Missouri, which was called King Largo. And then he purchased a albino stud from someone south of town, called him Snowflake, and he crossed that albino stud's colts with the Shire, and so that's where you get the size, the speed, the color. And
how did he know how to do that?
I don't know. You got to remember, he died 12 years before I was born. So
I know. I just didn't know if like someone got note of it, you know?
Somebody always, and you see these things, who would you like to meet, living or dead? And he is my answer every time.
Yeah.
Every time. Because I did get a lot of feedback from Thelma, his widow, because she lived 2 houses down from me. So I'd always pick her brain. As far as why he did it, I don't know.
Maybe he didn't even know. He just was like, we're going to try it. Let's go.
And he ended up going to the National Finals Rodeo to get an award for one of his horses, Sheep Mountain. And he rode in, and when he rode out, he had a heart attack and died in the alley between the chutes there at Jim Norick Arena, which they just imploded 2 weeks ago, I think.
Oh, wow.
And so those horses have went worldwide, and through DNA, which I'm part of the Bucking Horse Breeders Association, through the DNA, about 93% of all bucking horses go back to what Grandpa started about 100 years ago.
Wow. What a legacy that is.
And people ask me if I ride, and I say, nope. I learned from my grandfather it's easier to produce a rodeo than it is to ride. And I look.
Because you didn't rodeo growing up.
I rode in one youth rodeo, got dumped, picked cow crap out of my tail. I'm like, nope.
Like, this is not.
No, I can ride a horse and work cows and rope a little bit, but strapping onto
It's a different.
a horse that weighs a ton, no.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
And I mean, when I was younger, earrings and tattoos, and I don't look like it, but now it's kind of
But you know your way around, yeah.
Yeah. And that's a whole nother thing is I didn't realize how much the last name, how much weight it carried until recently when we did the documentary about Grandpa. And it's been crazy with the amount of people. It's weird saying, hey, in my cell phone here, I have Rob Zombie's phone number as well as Stetson Wright's phone number. It's just a weird mishmash of people that I am connected to. But yeah, it's just silly. The film changed my life a lot. And my grandpa was a talker. You knew Ernest.
I did. Because they ended up living in town, like, right?
Yeah.
Kind of by where Adam lives.
Yep, right across the street.
Yeah.
Yep. So I would call and Grandpa would talk. I'd pick his brain about rodeo because my cousins didn't care about it. But I grew up around it. I mean, it was normal for me to see like the Butler rodeo truck backed up or the Birch truck backed up hauling horses off. It was just normal to me.
Because they're right there. And they were out of where you guys are.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
so he started breeding and growing. Like, then he's like, okay, we've got the product, and people started calling or whatever they did back then.
The only one that really supported him was Casey Tibbs, which is weird. And he was a bronc rider, world famous. And so Grandpa sold him a horse. Well, then Winston Bruce from Calgary Stampede got in and heard about it. And then Harry Vold, then Butler. I mean, it just grew because they seen what he had done. And with the documentary, we started it. I wish we would have had Thelma on it before she died. But, I mean, we have Neil Gay, which is Donnie Gay's dad. We have Cotton Rosser. Harry Vold we interviewed 2 days before he died.
Whoa.
There is a ton of guys that are in it that are no longer with us. And when I had the PRCA look at me and said, hey, this very well could be the greatest rodeo documentary of all time because you've got people that nobody else can get that have passed. So that hit, and then just having guys like Ty Murray, who is in it, and I've become really good friends with Ty over the years, and he was my hero growing up watching rodeo, and then we have Max Carl from 38 Special and Grand Funk Railroad do the music.
Cool.
So it really grew, and when I was approached about doing it,
yeah, how did all of that come to be? So you have this like family historical legacy. So you're talking about doing the documentary, but how did it come to be that it was even an idea to do it?
Grandpa had always wanted somebody to do it. Well, then I get a call. It was early 2016, and it was from Ken Howie. He worked at the Cowboy Channel. He had heard Grandpa's story and said, hey, do you want to do this? I'm like, okay, yeah. And then he threw out a number, and my butt puckered. I'm like, how are we going to pay for this? And that's another thing with this film. It was all donation-based.
Wow.
We tried to sell it to, sponsors like Wrangler or Dodge or anybody that was big in the rodeo game, and nope, nobody wanted to touch it. And so having funded the whole thing through donations, and then to partner with the museum in Ekalaka, they were our fiscal agents, so they got 10% of everything. So that's been really rewarding for being able to put money back into that. And Nate and Saber have been great. Oh,
they've done such amazing stuff. And like, they just got another grant from Commerce. It's like 400 plus, like Saber's a like grant writing fiend. She's amazing. I don't even really know her, but I observed from afar and I'm like, dang.
Yeah.
And they're always talked about Carter County and Ekalaka because of that museum, like in our economic development conferences and things that we do, Ekalaka is always brought up. And it's not because like I'm just sitting there and I'm like, half of these people don't even know where I'm from, but they're always brought up because of that museum.
Yep. The dinosaurs and Trails End are what I get a lot of.
Yep.
I went to church camp there, or the dinosaurs. We stopped in and see the museum. Yep.
I'm like, we would only go there for field trips, but yeah.
Yep. And every time, no matter how many times we go back, my kid, she's 11. Can we go to the museum? Can we go?
Yeah, it's cool and it's small. So like thinking that they can expand and do more and keep more of that stuff that's found in Carter County is like so exciting. So they're your fiscal sponsor.
Yep. And what's been really cool is a lot of stuff they will ask me. Why? I don't know. They just skip over Dad, but Dad's pretty quiet.
Mm-hmm.
With that, Nate was like, hey, one night we're at the bar and he goes, do you have any horse bones? I was like, yeah, why? I want to put a bucking horse together like a dinosaur.
Oh.
So Gray Wolf, who I got into the PRCA Hall of Fame in 2018, Grandpa had saved his bones.
Which was smart.
Yeah.
Honestly, that you're not just like buried in like on some hill.
They got General Custer and Gray Wolf, and they were in a washer and dryer box in a grain bin. So Nate got them, and he is assembling them and putting them together so you can actually move the horse so it looks like it's bucking. And
that's
kind of
cool.
Thing. So yeah, he...
that's really cool. And just to see the scale of them too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, he did that. And then I worked with them, going back to Grandpa dying at the national finals. When his body came back, everything came back but his cowboy hat. And that's the most important thing a cowboy has, is his hat.
Yeah, who had it?
For years, Grandma Thelma looked, my grandpa looked, and nobody knew what had happened to it. I wrote an article for Catchpen magazine about the film. I'm flipping through, and there it is. It's in a traveling hat exhibit with Clint Eastwood's hats, Tom Selleck's hats, all these famous actors and cowboys, and I'm like, hell.
How did they get it?
And the history of the hat from 68 to 87, nobody knows.
It just disappeared.
But some lady donated it, and I looked up her name, and there was 2 ladies with that name. One was a nurse, and one was in media, so both of them would have been at the arena that night. So it took me 9 months to get that hat back. And when I opened it at the museum, we had the plaque he was holding, his boots that he died in, all of it together for the first time since that night in December in 1968, which was very eerie.
Yeah, it is. I kind of like got goosebumps from that. But special, like that you found it, but like how it ended up traveling as like a precious little artifact going around.
And it just so happened that article was in the same one that I wrote an article for, which just along the way with the movie of my grandparents, both Thelma and Feek, and then we lost Grandpa 2 years in, and then my grandma passed away a year before it was released. So just having those little things happen like that, I think somebody was watching upstairs helping me out. Because, it was tough losing Grandpa during it because he was the kind of the backbone of it.
Yeah, and like maybe like a historical.
And then Grandma, she was pretty proud. She would buy these and just have stacks that she was going to give to people. Well, she died, and then we were going through her house, and here's just all these DVDs that
stacks and stacks of it.
Yep.
So how long did it take? And like, what was that process like of doing a documentary? We did one for work, CARES funding during like in 2021. And it was just highlighting like some companies in our region that we serve, like Earlywood, Red Ox, like some of that. But for you guys, like what did that, you're doing it on donations, who's producing it? Like, how do you even know what to pull in?
We knew we knew the story. It was just Grandpa raising the horses, and Ken, Howie, and his wife Teresa were the ones that produced, directed all of that. And we essentially started our first interview, Las Vegas National Finals Rodeo, with Larry Mahan and Mel Potter. If anybody knows Larry Mahan, he was the king of the Cowboys, 8-time world champion. And Mel Potter was the one Grandpa sold the horses to because Grandpa didn't want to leave the ranch, so he sold them to Mel, whose family owned Ocean Spray Juice.
Oh.
And his daughter is Sherry Servey. So those two being the first interviews we got really set the tone, because I don't think if we would have got them, we wouldn't have got anybody else. Because Larry afterwards asked me, he said, hey, kid, if you need help with this, here's my number. If somebody says no, I'll change their mind. So we did.
Which clearly they really believed in what you were doing.
And we sat there in a hotel room, tore up. I mean, we had the beds and everything pushed aside, and we set up. And, we had Matt Birch in there. We had...
which relation to?
That would be... I don't know how they're related to, like, Mark.
But they're all, like, kind of like of the Birch family. Yeah.
And so that was where it started. And I think
hotel rooms in Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
And it gets better. When we were there, people seen us packing a microphone, boom mics and cameras and stuff. And we come back and there's beer next to our door. We're like, what? We're from Montana. Why are people leaving beer? The lady next door caught us leaving. She goes, hey guys, I left you some beer. I was like, okay, thank you. She goes, are you filming pornography? I was like, no.
Because you're in a hotel room in Las Vegas.
With
and you're
cameras.
like, God, no.
With cameras.
We're doing interviews for rodeo stuff. It's fine.
Yeah. So that was one of my favorite parts about it. But it started in 16, and in 19, we did a 1930s rodeo reenactment where we built a authentic lodgepole arena. And then we had the Christopher Kuntz and the fellas from the Church of Hank.
Classy crowd. Yeah.
Bring out all their old cars to make the rest of the arena. There wasn't a cell phone on set except for mine and Ken's.
And so you did it in Ekalaka.
It was right behind our ranch.
Wow.
So we were out of town. We had a bunch. We got all the authentic period clothing from Deadwood Days of 76 Museum.
So you like involved kind of the region area and the people.
And, Baker, those folks donated the boom lift for our cameras. I mean, it was really cool to see everybody come together. Another thing on that one is we filmed, the weather got crappy. Well, all the cowboys drank all the beer and
Naturally.
we were out. So I had to, this is a Sunday. So I called into the bar. Chris was working. I said, hey dude, how many people you got in the bar? He goes, 1. I said, kick him out and bring 8 cases out to the Tooke Ranch. And of course, that's what he did.
Of course he did.
And, Chris rolls up in his shorts and sleeveless shirt, and he's trying to watch what we're filming. I was like, you're not pretty correct. You got to leave.
You're like, you cannot stay. I'm so sorry.
So, yeah, that was one of the funnest days of my life, getting to see people, no cell phones, and people actually interacting, talking.
Who'd you get to come in and do that?
Come in and do what?
Be the people interacting, talking.
Didn't have a problem. I mean,
just
all the people from around town, Les and Karen Kreidel.
Yeah.
Trying to think of who all else we had. Mostly family too. Don and Robin Kuntz.
Yeah.
Everybody just wanted to be a part of it, and it's all in the credits of the film at the end of who was there. But then we hit COVID, and the donations stopped. So it took longer than we had anticipated, but we got it finished. We're just waiting now to put it on a streaming service.
Yeah.
But we want to retain as many of the rights as possible because we do still want that money to go to the museum in Ekalaka.
Wow.
Which I have had some people come up to me and go, boy, you must be rolling in the dough from that film. And I was like, no, I've made absolutely nothing on it in the decade that we have worked on it.
Not yet. Yeah.
So,
it's not why you started to do it either.
No.
Not that you shouldn't make some money on it, but it's not really why you sought out to do it.
And that was the thing too, is I was the one with the connections. Again, going back to the last name, I would mention it and I would coordinate kind of for Ken. I'd be like, hey, I've got these 4 guys in Texas. I've got these 3 in Oklahoma. You can hit this one in South Dakota on your way back. And so just routing it, and everybody was just so gracious for the time. Like Donnie Gay, of course, well-known bull rider, when we reached out, he made sure every family member was there from Mesquite Rodeo. He said, the Tooke family's coming today, look presentable, and we're going to help tell the story. So that was really
neat. Family's coming. Let's go.
Which I didn't go. It was just Ken.
Yeah.
But it was just those comments from, the world champions, the best of the best from that industry. And that's what our hometown is. I mean, you've seen those ugly blue jackets, haven't you? Tooke bucking horses, bucking horse capital of the world, Ekalaka, Montana.
Yeah, but they're like a classic thing, right? Like
from the 80s, with the cups.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're like in style. Have you seen how fashion, modern day fashion?
I
Jackets
know.
like that are trendy.
Everybody tries to give me theirs. We had a red and black and a blue and yellow, and everybody tries to give them to me. And I've added a few OBs since, so I don't fit in those codes. But
yeah.
But no, if you go into the museum, they've got a great setup there. They got, some of our old pickup man shaps, trophies, bones from the DNA that we actually used, a rubber flank, hats, anything I have found. I've got a still ton of stuff in the garage that was Grandpa's that I'm waiting for them to expand. And like I've got Grandpa's popcorn bucket from when he put on the rodeo in Chicago at the Chicago Stadium.
Oh, wow.
And
it's cool that he kept it.
And I've found stuff that he had when he put on the rodeo in Madison Square Garden in New York. So a lot of stuff that.
So he would take everything and go to these places with the horses. Trying to train him.
Yeah. Load him up on the train
and he would get on the train and he'd go. How many would he take?
It would just depend on how many day rodeo he had. Like talking to like Hawkeye Henson, he said they would have like a 8-day rodeo in Indianapolis. So some days you'd have 4 bronc riders. The next day you may have 16. And Grandpa's the first one to put on the rodeos in the field house in Bozeman.
Wow.
Grandpa was
That's a big deal.
Yeah, and Grandpa was one of him and Bill Linderman were the ones that started the Mouse City Bucking Horse sale.
Do you have a little backstory on some of that, details? Because I feel like that's fascinating.
Grandpa, being from the world of rodeo and having bucking horses and guys that had horses, because, you know, he was the horse guy and everybody's like, hey, I have this horse. It likes to buck. Do you want to buy it? Well, would you trade me a saddle horse for this? And just wheeling and dealing, horse trading, as they say. And he reached out to Bill Linderman, who was a big name in rodeo from Red Lodge. And they worked, and the actual first bucking horse sale was here in Billings.
Okay.
And they did it, and they realized that it's not really the crowd. So they moved it to Mouse City and got some help from other folks there, and that was the start of the Mouse City Bucking Horse Sale. Which
is now like a legacy event for people to attend.
Yep, it's bucket list for a lot of people, and he also started the Champions Ride, Sentinel Butte. He started that in Ekalaka, where he had bulldoggers go against top steers, riders against top broncs. Well, then Howard Schnell died in Dickinson.
Because Sentinel Butte's in, like, right by Beach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And it was in Dickinson for a year. Howard Schnell had it because he said, hey, Feek, can you help me get butts in the stands? And it did. Well, then he died in a plane crash, so they moved it. The Teschers bought it, and they moved it to Sentinel Butte, and here it is today. So
that's probably their biggest event because it's like a post office kind of town.
Yep.
Right, if I'm not mistaken.
It's very small.
Like, there's the post office. I don't know if they even have a bar. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably when that event's in town.
I have not been to that one. I've been to the bucking horse sale quite a bit, but.
Do you go back regularly for it? Like, do you guys just have like an honorary booth?
I had never been until 2016 when we started filming. I knew it was a big deal in the family, but Dad always planned the branding that week, and I think it was partly to keep me from going to Mouse City.
Well, we never grew up going to it. Because I'm like, they hand out like MIPs like they're candy, you know? Like, so I'm like, clearly our parents are all like, no, we're not going. So I've done the horse races the weekend before, but like definitely still in the buck. So when you went in 2016 to film, what was that like for you? Not having been, but like it's a family thing.
It was pretty neat because when you pack a camera around, like I got to actually video from above the grandstands in an old rickety shack shooting down in the arena. And that was pretty cool. And they really, when you say your name, they don't really bother you. So, and I'm on the board for the Montana Pro Rodeo Hall and Wall of Fame too.
Wow.
So I'm there for that as well because we're selling bronzes to raise money for kids, rodeo kids. So no, Mouse City's awesome. It's a good time. It's a Sunday perf. When you have the top cowboys, usually out of the top 30, they usually have 28, 29 of them. So you'll see the Wright boys blow in with their blue shirts. You'll see the Hay boys. You'll see Zeke Thurston. The one year I was in the arena filming, and I look over and a guy starts talking to me. He looks homeless.
Okay.
And he walked away, and Ty Linger walks over. You know who that was? I said, nope, no idea. Just a mangy
looking guy. What do you mean?
It was Ronnie Dunn from Brooks and Dunn.
Oh, wow. Looking under the, okay.
And he had his tattoos covered up, and he was wearing like these Oakley ski goggle looking things, and didn't.
Like, who is this guy? Like,
and then I see him go back to his bus. You see all the trucks and trailers, and then you see a tour bus. I'm like, okay.
Glad we had that good chat.
No idea who it was.
So are you still going back now?
Yeah, I'll go back.
So you go there, you're filming, you're wrapping up. And then what did you guys, like, how long did it take just like detail wise for you have all this film to compile it into the documentary? Like, were you part of that, knowing what to keep, knowing maybe what can't fit in? Because you probably had hours and hours of content.
I had 14 hours of just my grandpa talking in Castleberry Barn. We interviewed
which is amazing for you to just have that too.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, my grandpa was a character, and like I said, the first time we sat down with him,
His
because
dad's Feek Tooke. Of course he'd be a character, right?
and being in this, cameras, sound levels, all of this, I mean, I knew enough, but when you start getting into making a professional film, it has to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And like finding something with good acoustics. That Ken wanted a wooden barn, an old wooden barn. I went out, Bolton, can I use your barn? Sure. So, but Grandpa sat down, he talked, just like I joked at the beginning. I'll start from the beginning. He went, the battery went dead on the cordless mic. And Ken, I'll get another one. He goes, nope, I'm done for the day. Dropped it. I'm like, you diva. Ernest,
like,
you diva.
I'm done for the day.
Yeah. So we ended up 2 or 3 sit downs with him. And that was one of,
What was that? I mean, because you're sitting there, right, listening. Like, had you heard these stories before? Or
dude.
like, are you like, dang? Because
No,
from his perspective, he's the kid growing up in all of this.
I'd heard them all. I mean, when you're on the ranch with them day in and day out, whether you're driving back and forth, whether you're staying out there, whether you're eating lunch, I've heard them all. And it was fun getting to hear some of them that I hadn't heard before, but most of them.
You'd heard just in the...
Yeah.
And like, what's his I mean, for those, like that you haven't seen it yet, what was your grandpa's take on some of that? Like, as he's telling these stories of his dad doing this, growing up in it.
I mean, because my Ernest, and that was what was weird for me when I was being interviewed for the documentary, is Grandpa. There's Feek, who's great grandpa. There's Ernest, who is grandpa. He was old enough to partner with his dad. So when Feek's health, he'd had 4 or 5 heart attacks. So Ernest had partnered and was more or less running it there at the end. And my grandpa was the youngest to have a dual PRCA card.
Wow.
So Ernest rode bulls when he was 14, and then he was putting on rodeos in which he was competing against his heroes, essentially.
Mm-hmm. At like 14.
And he rode with polio.
Wow.
And back then, in the 50s, he would ride like this with his arms strapped, so there was no free hand.
Yeah.
So, and he retired when he was 22 to just produce rodeos, which I think Grandma had some say in that because the dad and Carol came. So,
like, hi, it's not just me now. Like, if I need you, thanks so much.
Yeah. But as far as his dad, he said, that's all I knew was Dad's way. And this is what he believed in. So that's kind of what I believed in. And he said it was proving fruitful with everybody coming.
And so he's putting on these rodeos. And how long did he do that? Because you guys have the ranch, you're putting on these rodeos. Like, how long did he keep doing the rodeos?
The first rodeo was the 4th of July, 1933. And that was at the ranch, because when Grandpa did it, it's crazy because I've got old rodeo posters from then.
I love that they kept some of that, intentionally or not. I'm just like, what history to preserve thoughtfully.
I give Grandpa so much crap. He was a pack rat. And then when he was close to dying, I was like, I retract all of this, which Grandpa and I had
You kept good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But my grandpa and I had that dynamic. Like, I told him, I said, hey, with this documentary, you're going to have to do a lot of crap you don't want to do. And he goes, I'll do it. Take out those stupid earrings and cover up your tattoos.
Okay.
So my earrings were out that day, and and he did everything I needed him to. But yeah, the Feek would invite people. It was a whole Eastern Montana thing. I mean, they would have a band, they'd have baseball games, wild mare milking, sack races, dance, rodeo. Because if they're coming from Miles City back in the 1930s.
I mean, I would go to that now.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I'm like, I would go to all those things.
But
I don't know what some of them are, but.
I mean, I would love to see somebody wild mare milking.
Yeah, I'm like, what is that? That seems like it'd be a task.
But it was him and his 6 brothers, and that was the thing, is the Tooke boys like to have a good time.
Yes.
Uncle Red drank enough for all of us, and so, no, that was...
And they knew how to throw a party.
Yes. And everybody came from whether it be South Dakota, North Dakota,
wow,
Miles City area, and I've got, like I said, all sorts of those posters. They'll be up in the Ecolog Museum, and then Grandpa Feek would do the rodeos up until 63-ish.
So like a good couple decades.
Yeah, and then Grandpa took over, and then after his dad passed, it was a struggle for him. And he would put on some in St. Ange. We had the Days of 76 rodeo. And after that, I call it the dark period because we didn't really put on any rodeos in like the 80s or the 90s.
But I'm imagining these places still had them.
Oh, yeah.
But
Just
it's like
different
you
contract.
guys started it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got interested. I mean, I always was asking about it, but it was 2008 when I got Grandpa in the Rodeo Hall of Fame and got to speak at Colorado Springs.
So what prompted you with some of that? Because you're like, you're ranching, doing that, like in school, you're really busy. Like what made you think like, I should do that for Grandpa?
Just knowing his impact on the sport and hearing Ernest gripe about it, because the Hall of Fame opened in 1979 and here we are 20 years later and Grandpa's not in it. And I've found strongly worded letters that Ern had sent to the PRCA and he had just kind of given up. And so between like Clem McSpadden, who was a congressman out of Oklahoma, he was a big one that helped. Harry Vold was another one. So when I started talking to these guys, they ended up getting him in. And this is another thing, that little tie-in. Clem McSpadden, when I talked to him, he was in the ambulance with Grandpa when he died in Oklahoma City.
Wow.
They were really good friends. It was Clem McSpadden and Wick Peth. And so when I called and said, hey, would you do this for me and stuff? Old people style. Before he had hung up the phone, he goes, honey, you'll never guess. That was Feek Tooke's great-grandson.
Oh, my gosh.
But he was going to be at the induction.
That's like, wow.
Going to be at the induction in 2008. He died when I was giving my speech in Colorado Springs. They were having his funeral in Oklahoma. So that kind of stuff.
But I'm sure just like honored to like hear from you.
Yeah. And
you know, like, because he probably remembers all of that or remembered it so vividly.
Yeah.
And it was like yesterday for them. And it's like, oh my gosh, whatever you need.
Yeah. He was super great. And it's just, well, we had talked to, that was his name. He's a world champion. So many names in my head.
So many good names, but I'm like, rodeo is like not my sport. So I'm like, I know these people are huge, but I have no help.
I called the one guy and I said, hey, Toby Tooke, we'd love to have you in and talk about the horses. And he goes, 1 second. And you just hear him. Hey, honey, it's the kid that talks to people and they die. Can I talk to him? I go, really? Really? He goes, she give me the okay. I was like, all right, cool.
You're like, it's okay. You guys are just of an age.
Yeah. So again, just all of the people. And I said that in my speech in Ekalaka, because the first place we played it was Ekalaka at the new grade school. Mm-hmm. I said that from the beginning. When we release this, there will be a one-time showing in Ekalaka for all of the people there, which there's roughly, I don't know, a little over 300 people there.
Yeah.
The count of people that walked in was close to 475.
So literally everyone in any corner of the county came.
Yep, the whole county, and then you got the Buffalo, Camp Crook, Baker people.
Maybe Broadus a little bit.
And so that was really neat to see that. And then
how was that for you and your dad? Because your dad's there too. Like, how was that?
Dad's in the background. He's always like, well, I should be able to give that speech at PRC. Hey, can I have that buckle? It's like, do you want to give the speech? Nope.
Then no, it's mine. Thanks so much.
Yeah, Dad's pretty quiet. He doesn't. I've got a little more Lovick in me than I do Tooke. Mm-hmm. But that day was pretty special at the grade school. I approached the junior class, said, do you guys want to, food for the prom? So they made a meal, made money. The museum was there.
Which you used to DJ our proms, by the way. I was like, wow. Yeah. I'm like, oh, yeah. You and Eric.
Yep. Now I'm feeling old.
It was the fun. Well, I don't mean to make you guys are probably early 20s. Like it wasn't.
We're trying to quit that. But I had not seen the documentary until 3 hours before we showed it in Eaglaga.
Oh, so you just watched it. And what was...
It was Ken and I sitting there doing a sound check.
Right.
And we're sitting there, it's just me and him in an empty gymnasium and watching it. And that was pretty crazy to be just us, because we were the ones that put in the thousands of miles, the ones that packed the cameras and did all of it. So just us seeing that was really cool.
What was that feeling for you watching it for the first time? Because it's about your family.
I was good watching it. It was after when people started pouring into the gym, and then they hand me a microphone and tried to have me talk. And Eric, my cousin who DJs with me, he runs the newspaper.
The Eagle Like an Eagle.
Yep.
Once a week.
And
Thursdays.
he lives in Dickinson now.
I know. But he still gets local news. We won't judge. It's still like locally ran. Yeah.
And I broke down because Feek's kids were there and, all these people that had, I said, the most important thing you can give somebody is your time, and having all of these people.
Yeah.
And so I was a sobbing mess. And then Eric put in the Eagle, these are the thank yous Toby'd like to say, but he was busy ugly crying in front of the whole town. I was like, you son of a gun.
But you can still say that in a small town newspaper.
Yeah. And it was really cool afterwards. So many people coming up and just because there for about 2 or 3 years with it being donation based. Cause when you donated, you got a copy when it come out, and all of the people, when's this going to be done? Is it going to get done? Do you just take the money? All the negativity. I'm like, dude, it's COVID. Hey, we're working
coming.
on it.
Like,
yes.
Chill out.
But,
or who even cares? You donated to a good cause. Like, it's coming.
And there was a couple people that were so pissed about it. If $30 is that much, we will refund your $30. And so that was a really fun evening, getting to see everybody and watch that. And another one was when I got to watch it with Sean Davis. He ran the National Finals Rodeo for 30 years. He's from Montana. Oh. So getting to sit with him and, hey, kid, pause this. I was on that bronc once in Indianapolis, scored 87. Or you get going, hey, he jumped all over me in Mandan. Just that kind of stuff.
Like he remembers the horses, yeah.
So getting to talk to him, and I mean, he's pushing 90 now. But
remembers it like it was yesterday.
So the film has definitely changed my life as far as connections, appreciating the history, and just another tool that. And I started our Bucking Horse Facebook page, which has been 17 years, just recapping history and videos. Yeah,
it's a good page to follow. I follow it.
And
if people are looking,
I get a lot of hate from like some PETA.
Oh, yeah. You can like block and hide that stuff.
Yeah. And that is a tool with the documentary, is to educate and teach as far as these animals. They're these contractors' livelihood, the vet bills, the feed, the water, all of it. Getting up. And Kelly Wardell talks about it in the documentary of how well they're, they work a minute and a half a year. Mm-hmm. And, the flank straps tied around the horse's gentle. And my retort to that is, whoever has that occupation, I'd like to meet them, and I want to know what that requires on a resume to crawl underneath of a 1-ton horse and tie that. Mm-hmm. And I try to be nice and educate, and then there's that switch that flips where I'm like, all right.
I've seen enough of these.
Now I have to get nasty.
Mm-hmm. But I think to educate is huge, and like the history of it, of like why they came to be, like the horses, but even the sport, they're huge. Like the Tooke line is like why we have the rodeo bucking horses that we have today.
Yep. And it goes into that a lot in the documentary. And my grandpa had programmed me to hate timed events. Team opens when you go take a leak. Okay.
Good. Got it.
But I have really, and it was weird because his nephew is a team roper now, Logan Medlin, ropes with Coleman Proctor. And I interviewed Logan. I said, hey, have you got to see the documentary? He said, yeah. He goes, when I mention I'm related to the Tookes, when I go north, it gives me a little bit more credibility. And like Trevor Brazil, I got to talk to him at a Hall of Fame deal, and he goes, no, dude, I may rope, but I know all these horses because I was under the grandstand picking my nose because I got drug around with Mel Potter.
Wow.
So it's not just the rough stock events, but there's so many cowboys that said, like Gary LeFew said, I bumped into him in a bar, and he said, I rode bulls because I didn't want to get on your guys' horses.
Wow.
That kind of stuff.
Which is because they're like huge too.
Yeah.
In a different, like, damn, they're big animals.
And that's the thing now is back then, there wasn't as many great bucking horses. If you drew one of the top 3 or 4, you're probably going to get paid. Now it's such an even pen. It just depends on how well you ride. Mm-hmm. So
So you're now involved because you said you're like, it's really changed your life, which I think is cool and powerful. And it's really from like your family's legacy of what they've done. What other things are you involved with now because of this documentary that you're doing?
I mean, I've always in talks with the PRCA, the genetic side of it with Dr. V down in Canyon, Texas. I'm really interested in seeing, he's big into he's the one that does the cloning. So that's a whole nother ball game of PETA being PETA. But between that and then Grandpa was on the board for the Montana Pro Rodeo Hall and Wall of Fame. If you do not know this, we raise money for high school kids so they can rodeo while they're in college. And actually coming up September 27th is our 20th banquet.
Cool. Where's that at?
Billings Hotel and Convention Center. And Grandpa always said, you need to get involved with this. It's so easy. You don't have to really do anything. I was like, because you don't leave the house, which we have meetings. And now that I live here, I go to these meetings, and just a great group of people that volunteer their time for these kids. And, Haven from Mouse City is one of our kids. We call him our kids because you look at him, he's, world champion now. It's just really, again, going to college, having that little extra money. And again, being in rodeo, it's not cheap when you have
sure isn't
a dually truck with a trailer.
A nice trailer.
And all your tack. And then if you're a roper, you got that expensive horse. And you got feed. So
and don't forget the gas even just to get there.
So no, it definitely is fun getting to see that. And actually the Tooke Ranch as a collective of what Feek's father, Earl, which is now where J.O. and Kim and the girls and Garth and Marina, that's the original place. So all 6 of the boys' family are going to be coming.
Wow.
So we're getting in, and I nominated Johnny Jonkowski, which I can't believe she wasn't in.
Do I know
Female
that?
bull rider from the 80s. She was on American Gladiators.
Okay.
She was on Letterman.
Okay. Okay.
She lives here in town.
Wow.
So, but no, that's something that I've really, I think I've been doing that 7 years, and if you go to the Metro and there's the wall, all the walls and the Dan Mortensen statue, that's us.
Wow, that's really cool. I feel like it what it sounds like, and I could be wrong, but it's also like you're involved in a lot of this stuff. It's got to make you feel a little more closer to family and home in a way where it's like all of these things you've done, like it's your family's legacy that you're now really taking the lead on.
And we still raise horses. I mean, I'll go back and Dad and I will work them. And Mac, my dad's cousin, actually runs at C&T Rodeo, and they do rodeos up and down the border, Marmouth, Glendive, Forsyth.
Which Marmouth is a fun little spot.
4th of July in Marmouth.
4th of July in Marmouth. We've all done it. If you haven't, it's a bucket list item. Go to Pastimes.
So, and they do those. And then we got about 70 head on the place still that all directly go back.
Wow.
Which...
that's a lot of horses.
Yeah. Grandpa ran...
yeah, how many did he have?
At one point, I think close to 300 out there.
Damn, that's a lot.
And Dad's finally realizing, because Mom and I have chewed on it enough, saying, you can do stuff with this. You don't... So he's been taking them to like Watford cities for charity and stuff. He sold one last year for $10,000.
Whoa.
And he called Mom, and Mom called and goes, your dad called me crying. I go, why? So...
Aww.
So no, I razz Dad, but no, he was never a cowboy. He was never interested in it. And I think now it's something him and I can talk about. Whereas, I mean, I know a lot of it. He knows some of it. We can piece it together, but it's just something that we have in common with having spent all that time with Grandpa. And first time we did our branding and we used a table. Mm-hmm. Which was Ryan and Joe come out. Mm-hmm. And I said, your dad would be chewing our ass doing a table and not roping.
Mm-hmm. What do you think you're doing in the land of, but I guess when you can't find wrestlers, because it's a whole different thing.
Well, when I was in school, there's 80 kids in school, and now there's 25, 30.
I know. My brother coordinated the branding crews, which I'm like, sometimes the teachers were like, Ben, you have to go to, like, you need to be in class. But it's like, Ben's like wheeling and dealing. They'd call the like landline at home and it's like, hi, is Ben there? And I'm like, Mom and Dad, why do you even answer? Like, they're calling for Ben to schedule crews to go branding. So that's what we did instead of track near the end.
I was only in track 1 year, but the branding season, that's one thing I miss.
They're fun. I finally went home this year. I finally like felt like I could in my schedule, like go home this year to help. But I'm like, still got it. My brother seemed to think I would forget how to like vaccinate or what. I obviously did not wrestle. I was like, no, I've done plenty of that. Still could.
My dad made, well, my knees are terrible from high school sports, and Dad, I think you can do irons now. I think I was like 38, 39. I was like, really?
Like, wow. Which in a brand, I'm like, that is like the job. I wouldn't want that at Suede. I would mix it up.
Yeah.
I'm good with vaccinating. Ben's like, don't kill it. I'm like, I got it. Anyways.
No, and I've taken a lot of like my experiences to being on the radio, and some of the stories people are like, is that true? Or
yes, it is.
Yeah. Or I run stuff between songs on 94.1, like ones people that listen to the station know the when to pull the tail and when to pull the rope.
Yeah.
Or
which are legitimate things.
Yeah. And we're funner than watching city folks fix fence.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've taken a lot of that and turned it into an entertainment kind of deal.
And educational.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though they might not think it's real.
Yeah, people, and then you get to talk to me. You know me, but talking to complete strangers, they're like, how do we take you? He makes it sound real, but it doesn't sound real. Yeah.
Like, they really just shower once a week in the creek? What do you mean? Pat and Oren did that. And Michael, we had like cousins from California down for a reunion one year. And they're like telling one of the cousins' wives who's never been there, like, oh, we only like bathe once a week. And I'm like, shut up, you guys. Like, she thinks you're serious. Like, what do you, like, stop it. Oh, gosh.
Have you seen old Oren?
Oh, yeah. He's got a trailer.
I see him occasionally.
He's taken a Rodeo Rigs trailer. So, and because he did med school, they're in not to like Hardin area. Sorry, Oren. But yeah, he came down for fair and debuted his, it's cool what he called it. And I can't remember, but like now he has like a trailer where he can travel as a doctor with a horse trailer, and he's like rigged it out. Yeah. So he can like have patients and stuff.
He's got another baby on the way, doesn't he?
He does. Number 3. His kids are stunning. Like, I'm like, I hope you realize, I don't know what the third one is, the girls. I'm like, beautiful. Like, they will be, I'm like, boys will be lining up, Oren. I hope you are ready because they're stunning.
I know. And they have him wrapped around his finger. I would be talking to him and one would come up, hey, I want something to eat. I'll come back in a minute. And then he leaves and then he comes back. And he got the little glasses.
Yep. It's fun to see. You probably think this too of like cousins and stuff and siblings, but it's like fun to see, like funny to see like Oren or Pat. I'm like, as like parents, because I'm like, I remember you. Like when we were all younger.
I remember all of you.
I know.
At church, all of us, I was a little bit older, but just all of the debauchery of kids running around church.
Oh, yeah. And then we're upstairs. So it'd be like chaotic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good days, you know? Yeah. It was fun. So it's been really fun to have you on. Hear your story, hear your family story. We end each episode with a couple rapid fire questions, and they're rapid-ish. So my first one for you is, why do you think legacy matters? Not just personally, but for communities and businesses too.
I think you don't know where you're going if you don't know where you've been. Because when you start something, hope and a prayer, man. Mm-hmm. You know, some people put every dime they've got into it, and that's how Grandpa was with the horses. And I'm sure every business owner, you know, is this going to work? And then once you start being successful, you remember when it was
hard,
pinching pennies and hard. So yeah, that's my thing, is legacy. And if you can withstand the tough times, like with COVID and that kind of thing, and
power through.
Mm-hmm, with people believing, you know, your clientele beforehand, they're going to support you through the tough times. And if you come out the other side, you're, I think, a lot more appreciative.
Oh yeah. Of what you've built and how you got there.
And that's that legacy of, you know, I built this, I weathered this, I did this. Because if you ain't proud of it, then why the hell are you doing it?
I think that's good. I like that line. My next question, what's some of the best advice you've ever received?
Oh, man. I got asked this in Cody at a...
Oh, good. So you're ready. Because I'm like, if I was asked this, I don't know. But
Ernest told me, don't be a boob.
What did he mean by that?
Oh, just his little things. Don't wear a felt during summer. Don't wear a straw during winter. He had his commandments, the Ernest commandments of don't act like a boob. Have your pants and shirt ironed. So I did get a chuckle out of that when the lady and Cody asked me that in a room full of people. And when I said, don't be a boob, they kind of looked and then giggled. But that's...
You could have a list of the Ernest commandments.
Pretty much Grandpa just saying, hey, you're representing our name, you're representing our family, be presentable, that kind of stuff. But he put it in the Ernest way of don't be a boob.
I like it. It's funny. It's got some humor to it. So my last one for you is looking ahead, what impact do you hope your work leaves behind for Montana?
As far as the work...
Kind of like all your stuff with like the documentary, like what you've done.
I'm going to say with the kids, because they have followed me up and down the road. They know the history. They like going back to Ekalaka.
Your kids.
Yeah. I got 3 of them. And they get it. Like even my stepdaughter, she went to Texas to stay with her father. Well, she has my name, my last name. Mm-hmm. And people sing that and going, like the bucking horses? All the way down in Lubbock, Texas. Whoa. And she goes, that's my stepdad's thing, not mine. I said, well, maybe you should learn. So she knows enough to be dangerous, but it also opened her eyes as to what Grandpa did. And, you know, Monroe's a history nut. She gets it. You know, Landon's in Bozeman and knows, hey, my great-grandpa did the first rodeos here in the field house. So I think just having them be able to be the next generation to know and push. And it's not just an Ekalaka thing, it's a Montana thing. I mean, rodeos are state sport. So
it is. And it just declared by the governor recently. Yeah.
So that's probably my biggest thing. It's just my kids being able to pass it on. And I'm trying to save as much as I can, not a pack rat like Ern, but
you got to keep some of the good stuff though, which you're probably glad he did keep it.
Well, get it in the museum.
Like the nuts and bolts and stuff that they all keep. I'm like, what is this? But
overshoes with no sole.
Yeah. I'm like, did we just leave them in there? I'm like, Dad, let's not, Mark. Anyways.
I remember seeing Peg pack stuff out to the garbage and Ern pass her on the way back packing other stuff and she'd just take it.
That sounds all too familiar, Toby. So where can people connect with you and then also connect and learn more about the documentary?
I'm easily accessible. Toby Chandler Tooke on Facebook. The documentary is feeksvision.com. You can buy copies there. We are, like I said, still trying to find a streamer, but you can order it there. There's trailers. There's all sorts of little goodies you can look at. So, go and purchase a copy. It's funny because when I do this kind of stuff, Teresa always goes, what'd you do yesterday? I go, why? She goes, I seen a spike in sales.
You're like
I showed in one of my buddy's garages and there was like 40 people there. And the next day there was like 20 sold. And she goes, what'd you do?
You're like, I'm glad you associated with me. Good.
So no, I implore you to, if you love history, you love rodeo, go buy it. It's well worth it. You will cry. Okay. Maybe you won't.
You probably will. I was like about to tear up multiple times just talking to you. So
yeah, it's a good one. I'm proud of it. And if you want to chat more with me, find me on Facebook. Tooke Bucking Horses too. I run that all by myself. About 60,000 strong on that one.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Like Montana, that's a lot. Wow.
All over the world because when you sell bucking horse semen, it goes to
all over the world.
Mm-hmm. So.
And if people want to listen to you locally,
94.1 K-Sky I'm on. 3 to 7 Red Dirt. I just flipped that and it's been awesome.
Cool.
And then 96 The Zone from 10 to 3.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Toby. It's been fun.
No, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to The Vault. Connect with us on Facebook at The Vault at 201 North Broadway or Instagram at TheVault_201. Or check us out on our website, thevault@201.com, where you can subscribe to our weekly newsletter. See you next time.